Good evening, everyone, and welcome back once again after quite a while actually to IG8Live Esports here with Slipstream Racing League for round 16 at Azerbaijan. So it should be quite an interesting session. As usual, we're on with our full qualifying session, getting started with Q1 already, down to about 16 minutes just under that remaining to get through, and then we're going to get straight into the 50% race after the full qualifying session. At the moment, we do have quite a few cars out on track on outlaps at the moment, so we should start to see some qualifying times come in pretty soon. We'll see how fast these guys are going to be around the circuit here, another street circuit, so going to make it a bit more interesting to see how the race itself is going to go, depending on the safety cars and whatnot, or how many we're going to have. We'll see what happens on the opening lap. Going to be a bit of a short run down here to turn one, so will be a bit tricky for most cars getting through, a bit tight and narrow along the track most of the way as well, so might make it a bit more difficult for overtaking, except maybe for the long straight down on the start finish straight. I think is where they'll have the most advantage. And looks like we're having some rain at the end of the race. Always interesting to see change of weather happen in a race session and see how drivers adapt to that. So let's see what's going to happen in that case. I think we should start to see some lap times be in here pretty soon. We got 18 drivers on the grid. We might have maybe one or two more drivers join us before the qualifying is over, as they can join on. Then possibly a few new names on the list since we've last been here, but let's see what's going to happen. Looks like Sabdar is already out of the session. Not sure if there's any qualifying ban for anyone in the session at the moment here. Didn't really keep up to date with that, but let's I think we should have more information on that as we get through the session. But let's see what's going to happen as we get further on in, down to just 14.5 minutes already. Bit of a longer lap around the track, so should get some times coming pretty soon. Let's have a look and see where the other drivers currently are. Looks like Trout is now getting started on his qualifying lap. I think it's at least about 10 seconds lower than about 2 minutes to get a lap time around here, but let's see what's going to happen, how fast these guys are going to be. And looks like Maz's been first, lap time in a 141.1 so far. Let's see how well that holds up. Thinking we might be looking at some faster times, possibly getting over into Q2 and Q3 maybe. Got Chirpy with a 142.5. Looking like we got Trout getting a purple sector 1 so far, so he's looking pretty good on this current lap. Let's see if he can take this on over through sector 2, which is usually a bit tricky to get around there as well. Possibly might be looking at getting fastest lap in this session here. And let's see how long it actually is going to hold off through, because now we got NTX Shea with a 139.9 getting into the 130s. I'm hoping we might be able to see some 138s, possibly 137s. Just depends on how the grip level on track is right about now. I think it should be all right through the qualifying session. Just the rain down at the end of the race session itself. So hopefully the setups that these guys have on the cars will be adaptable to the changing conditions on track during the race itself. We got another purple sector coming off of Trout's lap so far, so it should potentially end up putting that car in P1 in this session. Maybe a higher 139 or maybe into the 138. Sun does get a 139.073, just about 300th of a second away from getting into the 138. So not too bad of a lap so far that he currently has there. See where Cameron is on track here. I think he's in the next house getting through. Looks like he might have lost the front wing, so not on the best of laps there. Gonna have to try it on again and hopefully get a better lap in. We're on with Mikey right about now in the Ferrari, and let's see where his current lap is heading to. So getting through sector 1 at the moment here. Let's see if we're going to see any purple sectors from the Ferrari driver. Might potentially get that going, not sure. Let's see as he's about to get through sector 1 into sector 2. And looks like it's just not a purple sector so far, but of course the main aim here is just to get through sector, just to get through the qualifying 1 session, get over into qualifying 2, where they're gonna get a bit more serious in terms of lap times and tire strategy and whatnot. Of course, gonna be interesting in that session. We'll talk about that when we get it wrong to there, but let's see how many drivers will make it on over. Looks like we got 19 drivers in. I'm not sure who's the one that joined in. Possibly Walker join on in, but anyway, hopefully we can have one more join in the session before getting over to the race. We'll make an interesting race for a full grid to get started for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So far, Draft still holds on to the fastest lap here in Q1 at 139.0, and takes second fastest 139.9, just about 9 tenths off. So still close off to about a tenth off there. So let's see how well that holds up, because Draft currently has a pretty good time, and I think he's gonna just be happy with that, taking himself over to qualifying 2 with it. Got Sam Newton down in third at 140.5, Chris Thompson fourth, 140.6, only a tenth off. Mazepin down to fifth now with his 141.1. He got on his first lap here. Chirpy sixth now with his 142.5. Only 6 drivers in, but lap time so far here at the Baku City Circuit, and it's down to 10.5 minutes remaining here for Q1. Might seem like a lot of time, but really will go by pretty quickly. So let's see how well they get on through. Safdar, the unlucky one, not being able to participate in this session here, so we'll have to start down at the back of the grid. We'll see how that's gonna go for him. So still on with Mikey here in the Ferrari, trying to get a lap in. Hasn't gotten one in as yet. See who else is getting out on track. I think Tucker might be running a current lap here. Let's have a look where he is in the Alpine. Getting through, I think he's about to get into sector 2. So let's see how well his lap is going to go. Of course, no purple sector so far. Still could potentially get a purple sector in sector 2. We'll see what's gonna happen. Looks like NTXJ on another outlap right about now. Of course, we know everyone's going to be running on these soft tires here in Q1 just to get the fastest time in, and that was a bit of an incident here for the Alpine driver, just putting the one to the car. He might have lost quite a portion of the front wing, and there goes that car out of the qualifying session. He's going to be out of Q2. For that situation, he got a yellow flag situation down in sector 2 for that incident. They're gonna clear that off as fast as they can. Let's get back onto the Ferrari. I think he's finishing off sector 3 here in I think his second attempt at a lap here right now. Looks like he's flying through the sector as well as he gets down the start finish straight. This is where most of our overtaking is going to be happening in the race session itself, with that very long slipstream they're going to get from the cars in front of them. And he goes fourth fastest so far, 140.4, not too bad of a time. And we still got Draft holding on to fastest time here in the qualifying session. Let's see what else we got running on track right about now. I think Mazepin on another outlap at the moment here in the Haas getting on through. I think XS might be on the lap. Trying to have a look at that here right about now. The only remaining Alpine driver. Let's see if he can at least get his car over into Q2. That's going to be, usually it's the top 15, of course, with Safdar out early off in the session. Not sure if that is going to change things for us a bit. Might only make it a top 14 to get over into qualifying 2. We'll see what's going to happen in that case. And that's a purple sector 2 from the Alpine driver, so he's looking pretty good in terms of possibly getting this car into Q2. Seeing that his teammate is already out of qualifying 1. We got just 8 minutes remaining, so not a lot of time for them to get this done, and he's going to get down the start finish straight. Let's see what his lap time is going to look like. Mazepin now gets started on another lap getting on through. Then Cameron is on a lap there as well, and he goes second fastest at 139.3, just about 3 tenths of the time that was Draft there got in the Williams. So I think he's putting the challenge up to him, so not too bad so far. I think that definitely will take him over to Q2. He's going to hold on to that for the meantime and see how that's going to work on through with him. Got SpongeBob on a lap, Walker's on an outlap as well. Got Tyler still in the pits, Beefy in the pits, still got DXT90 out on track. I think he's on an outlap, but let's have a look at the McLaren driver here right about now. Usually some impressive laps from him as well here in SSR, so let's see where he goes with this current lap here. Got the rear wing open, getting through, and is going to get started on his qualifying lap here right about now. I'm going to take a ride on board with him as he gets through turn 1 here. Always a bit tricky, as most of the guys are going to take him mostly on the outside, getting around that into turn 2 and then straight into a DRS zone here as well. If they do have that advantage during the race, but going to make it quite interesting in terms of an overtake. One of the few overtaking opportunities on track here as he gets into the next turn. A bit tricky through here, a bit tight as well. Barriers on both sides, so you can't afford to actually make a mistake getting through this section of the track here. Chirpy on the side of the track, just letting everyone go by. bit tricky here through sector 2 as well. I think one of the most tricky part of the track. That's provided you're good with the 90-degree turns over in sector 1. So far so good on this current lap as he gets on through up into castle section. A bit tricky through that as well. But always usually find most of the incidents on track are going to happen around there, especially causing a safety car and whatnot. Not too fast getting back on the power, getting off that curve, but I think he was a bit off on the maybe the front. Now about to get straight into sector 3. Always a bit interesting how guys tend to handle getting through here, and just try to make it flat out through this turn. Gotta just angle the car just right getting through, and he does get it pretty good. Saves a bit of time as he gets on through that. I don't think we notice any purple sectors off the McLaren's current lap time, but let's see where Matty puts this as he is about to get across the line here. Should get a decent lap time, at least in the 140s or 139s. Let's see where he does go, and gets a 140.7, so not too bad of a lap for him. And I think he's gonna be happy with that, but this puts him down to 11 though, so it makes it interesting to see how this works out. Dross still fastest in the session, Excess down to second, Mikey in third, NTC is now down to 4th. He's trying to get a faster time, and Mazepin back in 5th there right now. Extremist got a lap time 140.1 into 6, got go down to 8 right about now, 140.156. Looks like Walker now goes up third fastest on the grid here for Q1. Just under 5 minutes remaining. He is third fastest, 139.6. Not a bad time from him. See what that's going to take him at the end of this here, as we should have Beefy about to get started on the lap here pretty soon as he now gets over into sector 3. Let's see what his lap is going to look like. We got Tyler and Vintage out on track on hot laps at the moment, so they should be bringing in lap time pretty soon. 2 drivers currently out of this session. That's Safdar and Tucker. Total of 19 running in. Hopefully having one more to have a full grid before we do get started with the race. We'll see what's going to happen in that case. But running out of time here in Q1, so they need to get a lap in. But quite common, you'll find Beefy usually getting out at the end of Q1 to get a time in, unless there is some rain scheduled to be in the qualifying session itself. Then he usually tends to get out pretty early off. Walker, another one that usually tends to get out a bit late off in the session. I think they wait for the track to get a bit rubbered in, I'm not sure. So on with Beefy right about now in the AlphaTauri. His teammate currently third on the grid. Looks like Code and Control out of the session. Qualified 14th. We have about 3 drivers down at the bottom here though that are going to push them over a bit. Mazepin out as well. He's 7th. Might be able to make the cut into Q2. Let's see what's going to happen as we're in the final few minutes of the session. Purple sector 1 off of Beefy's current lap that he's running here. First attempt at that qualifying lap here in Q1 as well. Let's see if he's able to keep it together through sector 2, and not able to. Hits the wall a bit. Definitely took some damage on that AlphaTauri, and he's very limited on time in terms of getting back into the pits and getting back out on track. Did he take major damage though? I don't think the end plate is missing, so far so good as a seal. Maybe the front wheel maybe just hit the barrels just a bit, but so far it seems to be intact as he gets through. And about to get into sector 3 here now, so let's see. I highly doubt it might be a purple sector 2. Actually, it is still a purple sector 2, so still looking pretty good on this current lap. Got dropped on another out lap right now, trying to preserve his P1 position here in Q1. Let's see if he's able to hold off on that as it is right now. Beefy now about to finish off his current lap, and he might potentially be able to get this car into P1 as this session comes off to an end. Actually no, I think the sector 3 time might have been a bit bad there, because 141.2 had a purple sector 1 and 2. Not sure what happened over in sector 3, but did not seem to go too well. He might be attempting another lap on that same set of tires, provided he doesn't have damage in the car. We'll see what's going to happen. 13th on the grid, still potentially could get over into Q2 here. We'll see what's going to happen though. Depends on what happens. Tyler back into the pits. Got Chirpy on the lap here. Let's see how this is gonna go for him. At the moment, getting a bit interesting with that. We're looking at possibly top 14, maybe going over the Q2 at this point here. So Vintage in quite a bit of a dangerous position at this point. Tyler on another outlap. Got Maddie getting out on lap as well. Got just under a minute and a half remaining though in Q1. So drivers are going to have to get a move on with this in terms of getting the final attempt at the lap time in here. Looks like Chirpy is going to go back into the pits, not going to finish that current lap that he's on there. Let's have a look and see if he's going to actually finish off this current lap that he's running here, or is he potentially going back into the pits? Well, he is slowing down, so I assume he is gonna head back into the pits here. Now gonna finish off the lap. Did have a good run on that one there. Vintage here on track, still trying to get another lap if he can, down in 14th. And looks like he invalidated whatever lap he was currently running, so that's not gonna look too good on his end. Looks like Walker might be trying to get another lap in. Let's have a look at him here right now. His teammate potentially might be in for Q2. This is going to cut it a bit closer. That just depends on what's going to happen with Tyler Scarter, if he's going to get a fast lap in here or not. Looks like Beefy is already out of the session. Let's switch this on over to Tyler here, and he is currently getting through Sector 1 in the Red Bull. Let's see where his lap time takes him at the end of this qualifying. Officially over right about now. Only for those currently running a qualifying lap on track will be left to finish that, and then we head straight over to the results, and then to qualifying 2. Hits the car into the barriers down just a bit. Droff getting back. Fastest lap once again, 138.6, beats his previous record here on the track. And the only 138 here at the moment. So let's see if he can repeat that again over in Q2 and possibly Q3. Let's see what's going to happen, because going to get a bit more interesting when we get over to qualifying 2. Just depends on what set of tires they're going to be qualifying on to start the race itself. Provided we do have that rain coming down at the end, going to affect what sort of strategy these guys would normally run here on a tri-track all the way through. We're seeing we're going to have that rain down at the end. They're going to have to be a bit careful about it. Account at least a bit for that in their strategy and see what happens. Walker back into the pits. I think we still have Maddie on track running, and Tyler. The only 2 cars possibly left running. I think it's only Tyler left right now. So we're going to have the Red Bull finish his current lap here, get across the line, and I think that's going to be it for qualifying. Now we'll have a quick look at the result before getting over to qualifying 2, see how many drivers actually made it on over. It does look like Beefy will potentially make it on over into the qualifying 2 session. Let's see, the driver beneath him will make that cut though, because I'm not sure if we're taking 14 or 15 at this point. Alright, looks like we do have Droff still hold on to his fastest time there in Q1. Exis was second fastest, Walker third, Extremist in fourth, Mikey in fifth, and NTXJ 6. We got Mazepin 7, SpongeBob 8, Cameron at 9, we got Sam Newton 10, Maddie 11, Kristaps in 12, Beefy hold on to 13. Makes it over that. Vintage does make it over in 14th, as we expected would happen. Good and Control will be starting 15th. We got Tyler starting 16th. Chirpy will start 17th. Tuck will have to start 18th. And Savda will be starting 19th. Unfortunately, not able to participate in the qualifying session. So we'll have to hold that position there. And hopefully can gain some positions on the start of the race. We'll see what's going to happen. Okay, so into qualifying 2 right about now, 15 minutes on the clock, already started, or down about by about 30 seconds or so, as we already have cars leaving the pit lane at the moment. Gonna be an interesting session where they will have to start the race on whatever set of tires they do their fastest laps on here in Q2, despite how many laps they do on it, so which means they will be doing a minimum amount of either 1 or just 2 hot laps on a set of tires. Just depends if they're going to start the race on that or not. We'll find that possibly most of the drivers drivers might potentially be attempting to do a lap out on the mediums, then come back and do a lap on the softs if they choose to start the race on the softs. So we'll see what's going to happen in that case. They're on with draft at the moment. Forest car out on track, and he is still on his out lap, getting on through here. He's out on the soft tires. Most of these cars seem to have the soft tires fitted right about now, except for Cameron there. He has the mediums currently on. Let's see if he's going to make a switch before getting out on track, or let's see what's going to happen in that case. We know, of course, that the qualifying 3 session, definitely all drivers will be using the soft tires, just trying to get the fastest lap time to hold on to provisional pole if possible, or at least the best starting position that they can get here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We'll see what's going to happen in that case as we get around to it though. Thank you to SpongeBob for subscribing onto the YouTube channel. We got a few more drivers getting out on their out laps right about now, so we should start to see some lap times come in here pretty soon. Down here, it's under 13 minutes already. 15 minutes will go away from you pretty quickly. When you go to the qualifying 3, that's just going to be about 12 minutes for that session. Not going to be a very long session, so drivers will have to get a move on when they get over to that. So they're trying to just make it over into the qualifying 3 session at this point here. As you can see, Draft using as much of the track as he can on his current qualifying lap. Let's see what's going to happen on the opening lap when we do get around to the start of the race, because I think it's going to be a bit interesting. We might potentially be looking at a possible safety car or maybe a VSC on the opening lap itself. It just depends on what's going to happen, how many cars might be taking damage, how careful the guys are going to be around the first sector at least getting through the lap, and how much they're going to push for overtakes on the opening few laps of the race itself. Let's see who's going to be starting on pole as well. Making a bit of contact with the wall there. Has to be a bit careful with that to try and avoid any potential damage to the car. I think I'm going to stay on with the Williams here until he finishes off this current hot lap. Let's see if he is able to put together a pretty good lap. His fastest time was a 1:38 over in Q1. Let's see if he's potentially able to pull that off again here, as he is on the soft tires, so we would expect to see that happen. And of course, only the top 10 drivers from this session will be progressing over to qualifying 3 and then fighting for the positions for the start of this in the top 10. We'll see what that works out. Remaining drivers from 11th to 14th after this session will have to start the race at whatever position they finish the session at. Got Draft getting across the line here right about now. Let's see what his lap time is looking like. It's a 1:41.7, not as low as we expected. Let's see what's going to happen as the rest of the drivers are going to get some times in. Got Beefy now with a 1:42.3, about 2 seconds off the time here. Probably 1 second off the time, but let's see where the rest of the drivers go at the end of this. Timmy Walker about to finish off his lap here as well. He might have a driver or 2 in front of him. Let's see what's going to happen. He's looking to potentially have a purple sector 2, but went a bit wide there in sector 3. Getting into sector 3, let's see if he's still able to potentially get maybe a 140 or 141 here. Looks like Sam Newton takes away the fastest lap right about now, 140.5. Christoph's now second fastest, 140.572. And looks like Walker goes back into the pits. As I said, he went a bit too wide on the entry into sector 3. Didn't expect that lap was going to go too well there. Got the Mercedes, the sponge job here in Q2 right about. I think it's a Mercedes. No, I think his teammate is Christoph right about now, who's currently second fastest on the grid. Let's see where he takes the car on his lap. He's now getting into sector 3, I think, trying to get his lap started here. So waiting for that to happen. Who is his teammate? It's Extremis' his teammate. Yep, Extremis is his teammate for the next Mercedes. Trying to have a look at the cars at the side of their car, see what's happening with that. I think his teammate trying to get started on his lap there as well. Alright, so let's have a bit of a look on board, see what the racing line looks like for SpongeBob here as he gets through this current lap. Takes it a bit careful through that turn as much as he can getting through. Uses up as much of the track as he can as well, so hopefully we'll have a pretty good lap as he gets around on this current qualifying lap. His fastest time so far 1:40.5, and we're quite way into the session already. 8 minutes 40 seconds or so remaining. Still got Cameron out on his mediums, hasn't come out on track as yet though. We got a purple sector 1 of the Mercedes driver here, and let's see if we can transition that over to sectors 2 and 3, potentially taking away the fastest lap here in Q2. And I think that's going to be it for him, potentially losing the entire front wing. Let's see if he's going to be able to get the car back in. Looks like he will. Hasn't the end of the session, so we'll have to get the car back into the pit lane, get that repaired, and hopefully has enough time to get back out, getting a lap in. Looks like we do have Cameron getting out on the mediums. Will probably be one of the only drivers doing that on the mediums. I think Sam has done his on the mediums as well too, because I think we have set it on best lap so far. So looks like Sam in the Alfa Romeo has set his lap time on the medium tires so far, and the rest of the drivers currently on the soft. So makes it a bit interesting as well to see what the strategy here is going to be with that. Cameron now getting out on the mediums. Let's see what his lap time is going to look like. Got Maddie on the McLaren here, getting through on the lap, just about 7 minutes remaining. Still enough time, at least half of the time. And we're looking at a purple sector 2 so far here for the McLaren driver. Potentially might be able to take this over into purple sector 3 as well. Just depends on how well you have the practice down for sector 3. Let's see what his lap time will look like as he gets across the line here. And goes third fastest with that, a 1:40.7, not too far off from P1 and P2 in terms of lap times at the moment here. We got Extreme is currently on a lap, I believe just gone fastest in the session, a 1:40.0, 5 tenths faster than what Sam Newton currently has, so not a bad time for him. Looks like Cameron now goes 5th fastest, so 1:41.1 there in the house, not a bad time for him. Where is Walker on track? I think he's trying to get on the lap in right about now. We've got him going in through sector 1. We're going to just leave him to be because he does not perform too well in terms of a lap when on the stream itself. On with excess though in the Alpine here. Let's see what his lap time might look like. Mikey as well on a lap, trying to have a look where he is. I think he's close off to finishing his lap. He's about to get into sector 3 in the Ferrari. Sector 2 seems to be a bit of a sweet spot for most of the drivers here, as they tend to be getting a pretty good time through it, as we've seen a lot of fastest time through sector 2. Let's see what the sector 3 time is going to be like though. So he should be getting across the line pretty soon. Finally be able to put a qualifying lap here in Q2. Goes third fastest, and not a bad time for him, a 1:40.56 at the moment. Only about 300th of a second slower than what Sam Newton currently had. And not too bad for him so far. Let's see how he holds on to that going on through the session. We'll go possibly back to Walker here. Just getting a purple sector 2. Not sure what his sector 1 time was, as he's now going to finish off sector 3. And should have no room for error here as he now gets onto the straight, into the start finish straight down to the line here. And let's see what his lap time is going to be. Should have a pretty good lap, I would expect, as he now gets across the line with the fastest lap time in the session on the mediums as well here, at 1:39.6. Puts him in a pretty good position of getting over into qualifying 2. We're on with Vintage in the next Ferrari. His teammate, of course, Mikey Dong in P4 already. Let's see if he can get his car over into qualifying 3 here as well. So far looking pretty good here for the Ferrari drivers though. I think Vintage should potentially be able to put his car over. He did barely make it over into qualifying 2, or was 14th on the grid there in Q1. Made it over because we took the top 14 over into the session. Let's see what's going to happen as we get on through here. Looking for a pretty good lap off the Ferrari here, and Vintage currently with a purple sector 1. Needs to carry this through to sectors 2 and 3 as well. Okay, it's about to get into sector 3, so hopefully we're waiting to see a purple sector 2, and doesn't look like it is though. As he does make it into sector 3 without invalidating laps, so we'll take that as a good sign at this point here. SpongeBob on a lap there as well. I think he's coming through sector 2 at the moment. We'll see what his lap time is going to look like. If he potentially can make it over into qualifying 3, we got a Ferrari down the start finish straight. Should be getting a pretty good lap, I would assume. Let's see where that's going to take him. And only P11 so far, needs to be into the top 10 in order to make it over to qualifying 3. Let's see if he can potentially pull that off before the session comes off to an end. On with the Mercedes here on SpongeBob at the moment. Let's see if he's gonna potentially get his car into the top 10, because that's where he's gonna need to be if he does want to make it over to qualifying 3 at this point. And does get a purple sector 2. Not sure the sector 1 time was, but having a purple sector 2, pretty good indication that he potentially could get a pretty good lap here. Possibly get him into the top 10. Let's see what's going to happen. Beefy on the drop zone right about now though. 142.3 puts him down to P10. Vintage in P11. We do have other drivers still running on track with about 2 minutes remaining in the session. SpongeBob now goes fastest in the session here. 139.689. Literally about 100th of a second faster here. So not a bad lap from him. It's 100th of a second faster than what Walker did on his fastest lap that he currently holds here, and SpongeBob did this on the mediums here as well. So pretty impressive in that. And we're on with NTX at the moment. Had a pretty good lap on the previous session. Let's see where he goes at the end of this. Still on an out lap here though. Needs to get this lap started before this session comes off to an end, which is going to be in less under a minute and a half right about now. So lap times as we have it range from a 139.6 fastest to a 142.7 slowest. Just a few seconds between that range, we should say right about now. Top 10 looking to get into qualifying 3 right about now. Cameron and Vintage might be in a bit of a dangerous situation. Trough and Beefy already out of the top 10. Dropped already another outlap already. Beefy still on track, X is still on track and running. NTXJ currently on the outlap, about to get started on his lap with about 52 seconds to spare getting into that lap, so he should be able to finish his final lap here. So we possibly have Mazepin on track still along Kristaps, and let's see what Cameron and Vintage are going to do, because they're still running on track here as well. On the medium still trying to get a faster time. I think we'll potentially stay on with the Red Bull on track here, see what his lap time will be coming to the end of this. Looks like Mazepin already out of the session here. SpongeBob will probably be getting back into the pits as he has the fastest lap. About 10 seconds remaining here in qualifying 2. And we should be able to close that off and just wait for everyone currently finishing off their current lap. And let's see where they're going to be at the end of this. Red Bull getting a bit twitchy here. And spins around, loses the car there, so that's going to possibly be his lap there. I highly doubt he's going to be able to get a faster lap in. Back on with the Alpine up excess here. Let's see as he should be oh, he did get a faster lap in. A 139.8 goes third fastest on the grid. That pushes Cameron down into the drop zone right about now. We got Maddie here about to be knocked off as well if someone else does come around with a faster lap, but does look like Vintage is going to get back in. He's out of it. Draft here still running on track. Purple sector 1 so far on this current lap, so he's potentially looking to knock the McLaren out of P10 and possibly get into the top 10 here if he can. So just one driver in a bit of danger of getting knocked out of Q3 3 at this point here. Let's see if Maddie can hold on to that position that he currently has in 140.7. Drop just needs to get a faster lap time than that at this point here. He's on the mediums right now, which seem to be the faster tires here in a Q2 as well around the Baku City circuit. About to get into sector 3. Let's see if he's going to potentially, and I still got a Red Bull spinning around the track a bit. See if he's going to get a purple, and does get a purple sector 2, so Drop definitely looking to potentially get this car somewhere in the top 5 here on the grid. I think he's just going to be happy once he gets it over into qualifying 3 at this point here. So it does look like the McLaren of Maddie might be out of Q3 at this point, so he might be starting the race down there in 11th, which he will. Drop goes fastest in the session by about 4/10 against the Mercedes there as one drop. So 139.2 for him, not a bad time at all. Looks like we have at least 2 drivers in the top 10 going to be starting the race on the soft tires there. The rest will be starting on the mediums. Going to make for quite an interesting race. I think it's just under 30 laps or so for this race session. We do have some rain coming down at the end, so let's see if their strategy is going to be to use those mediums all the way to where the rain starts. But just depends on how late in the rain is actually going to come. They might have to still do a pit stop onto a second set of tries before that rain does approach. And we're not sure that if we're going to have to make a switch over to the intermediates when it does start to drizzle. Just depends on how fast it comes on down. We'll see what's going to happen. That's the end of qualifying 2. We're about to head into qualifying 3, so let's have a quick look at the results if we can here in Q2 and see what happens. It looks like Troft fastest here once again, 139.2 there on the medium. SpongeBob second fastest in the Mercedes. Walker third fastest, so top 3 for the session, not too bad so far. Looks like XS makes it P4, Extremist in 5th, Mazepin 6th, we got Beefy 7, Mikey in 8, Sam Newton in 9. Christoph makes it into the top 10 there to go into qualifying 3. And looks like Maddie will have to start 11, Cameron will start 12, Vintage and 13, and Texia will have to start 14th on the grid. Wasn't able to get a lap time in, unfortunately. And we got Walker using no ABS, so yeah, a bit slower here, still learning on that. Well, at least I think he's still doing pretty well. I did see one of his other streams the other day. I think that was the first one he was using no ABS, and I think he's using no racing line as well. I'm not sure if he still has the racing line off on his end of the screen, but I assume he probably does if he's running no ABS on the setups of the car. And for those of you who do not know, running no ABS quite difficult, especially when you're getting used to it for the first time. I've tried it quite a few times before. Not as easy as you would expect it to be. Anything below third gear, I think it locks up the fronts of the car and just causes a flat spot on the tires, and you gotta be so careful with that. So good job on Walker for getting that done. Seems to be doing pretty well with it so far because he's getting some pretty good lap times in the session. Alright, I don't think we need telemetry on. Let's just leave. We know everyone's been running on the soft tires at the moment here. I think we're on the beefy at the moment, getting through his current lap here. But still on an out lap. So 12 minutes total here for qualifying 3. Surprisingly enough, or not surprisingly enough, we do have both AlphaTauris in. I think we got both Mercedes in as well, so they're doing pretty well. Ferrari, we got one. Alfa Romeo, we got one. I think we got one of the Haas. And Williams, I think we got, was it one Williams or two Williams we got here? No, we got one Williams in, one Alpine. We got an Aston Martin in there as well. So let's see where we're going to be at the end of this session as we get on through. We got every one of these 10 drivers out on track right about now here for the qualifying 3 session. Trying to get our lap times in as soon as I can. They'll be running possibly about 2 sets of hot laps or maybe 3. Just depends if time permits or if they have enough fuel in the car and can pull off another lap on that set of tires. So we're looking forward to see what this race start is going to be like. Most of the drivers there in the top 10 will potentially be looking at running a very long stint at the start of the race, starting off on those mediums because they can run quite a few more laps than the soft tires itself. So of course they are just a bit slower, but they do seem to be providing some decent pace here around Azerbaijan. So we'll see what's going to happen as the race gets started in just a bit, because we're getting off close off to close off this session very quickly. It's not going to be lasting too long, as we already got drivers on hot laps here, Extremist and Beefy on the hot laps there at the moment. Let's see what the lap times are going to look like as they get around this. I'm trying to have a look, where the heck is Extremist on track? I think he's already in sector 2 going. Let's have a look if we can here. Oh no, he's just getting through in sector 1 right about now. I thought he was potentially in front of Beefy, but I think Beefy was the first one to get out on track. So let's see where the AlphaTauri driver puts this car here in this session. Of course, they are all currently looking to get their car onto provisional pole for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's going to be quite interesting one, because getting on pole here going to be a bit important as well. They want to get that advantage out in front to get around turn 1 before any chaos does come around here on track, especially in that opening lap is where most of it is going to happen. We're going to have quite a few cars down in the midfield might be going wide on that opening lap there as well. Does tend to happen quite a lot. Some guys might get caught up on the inside of turn 1 on the barriers. They're possibly potentially taking some damage. We might have some contact getting through sector 1 itself entirely, but we'll see how well it goes. We got Beefy getting through sector 3 right about now on his qualifying lap. Should have a pretty good lap in. We might be looking potentially at some 139s, 138s here in Q3, as the track is now going to be getting faster. As the sun now goes down a bit there. Let's see what's happening as he gets across, and it's a 139.6. Impressive lap from him so far. Who do we have getting across next though? I think it's the Mercedes there of Extremist as he gets across. Now takes away provisional pole, 139.609, 200th of a second faster than what Beefy did. So not too bad of a lap right here. I think we might have Mazepin as the next driver getting across, and he is going to go third fastest, 140.1. Trying to have a look who is getting across here next. I think that was Walker there, 139.7. Puts himself down to third, only a 10th below what his teammate has, so not separated by too much. Roth now takes a provisional pole. That's going to switch all around as he gets a 138.6. X is now down to second, 139.3. Extreme is down to third, Beefy fourth, Walker is teammate fifth, Mikey down to 6, 139.9 at the moment, and pushes Mazepin's time down to 7 to his 140.1. I think we still got Christoph's here in the Aston Martin to get across the line right about now. SpongeBob possibly behind of him and coming. Let's see where these two go. 140.4 keeps him in P8 as it is there right about now. Invalidated lap from the Mercedes though. Okay, so we should expect him to be attempting a second lap on that same set of tires there, and if that fails, then I assume he will probably go into the pits, get a new set on, and then get back out on track and potentially get a lap in. We got Sam Newton back into the pits. I don't think he came. I think he did came out, possibly invalidated a lap, which is why he's back in right about now. We get a purple sector 1 from the Mercedes here. He is definitely attempting to make up for that previous lap that he did there. Invalidating that lap, not always a good thing to have done here, especially here in qualifying 3. It's a one part of the session in qualifying. You don't want to be invalidating laps because it just costs you a lot of time to get back around again, especially if you have to do a tire change before getting onto the next lap here. Let's see, it's about to get into sector 3. Will we see a purple sector 2? And we do see a purple sector 2 from the Mercedes. So definitely potentially looking to get this car on provisional pole if he can, as he gets around the final few turns here of sector 3. And now on to the start finish straight, a straight on run down to that finish line. Let's see where he can put it. Maybe in the top 3 at least, if not on provisional pole here, because 138.6 on drop, going to be a bit tough to beat here as well. And does go up into second at 138.8, only 2 tenths off, so not too far so far as at the moment. Pretty good lap time for him. Even if he's going to be starting second, not too bad, but we're definitely going to have a second set of laps off these drivers here, as they all will be getting back out on track to potentially get another lap in if they can. Let's see where Mikey is here at the moment, as he is, I think he's running in sector 2 right now. Not sure if he's on a hot lap or not. Does seem like he is at this point in time. Gets through that section of the track pretty well. Time that very well, I would say. Sam Newton still into the pits. Let's see when he is going to get out. Limited time here in the session. Needs to make that a bit quick when he does decide to get out on track. Okay, so get back on the overcam, have a look at this. Most of our drivers back into the pits. We still have a few drivers out on track, potentially trying to get a second lap in on that same set of first drivers that they use. They will possibly be, the rest of them be changing onto a new set to get back on track here. Looks like Mikey's going to get back into the pits, doesn't want to risk it. He's going to just get a new set of tires on and then potentially try that lap again. Christoph's here, getting through this lap. I think Man's been in front of him. I think this is their second hot lap in. They already got a lap time each in, only separated by a 10 to 2 of them. Let's see what the new lap time is going to be, if they're going to get a faster one. Doesn't look like this is going to be faster. Mazepin, he's going to go back into the pits. And that's going to be a lot slower there for Kristaps as well. We'll expect him to go back into the pits as well. And looks like we're going to have everyone back into the pit lane there. And waiting for drivers to get out for their final run here on track. And let's see if they're potentially going to be increasing the lap times that they have. They're doing a bit better on that. Draft currently on provisional pole for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. 138.6. SpongeBob there in second, only about 2/10 down from his time. Then we got Mikey there in third, 139.3. About 5/10 off the time of SpongeBob in the Mercedes. You got XS in fourth, 139.3 so far as well. Only separated from Mikey by about 300 of a second, just about 3/100 of a second. Beefy down there in fifth. Got Extremist in sixth, Walker down to seventh. The Extremist went in the middle of those two AlphaTauris there with his lap time just by a tenth between them, down and above. I would say Matt's been in 8, Kristaps currently 9. Got drivers getting back out on track at this point here right now. Mikey already out, Extreme is out already, just behind of him. I expect the rest of the drivers will be getting out before the clock goes down under 2 minutes. Or at least as it just goes down under 2 minutes. So just about 2 minutes 10 seconds now remain as we have more drivers now start to come out on track. So let's see how the lap times and positions are going to be switching it up just a bit as we get started with our final runs here in Q3. And then we're going to get straight over to the race session. That'll be about a 45-minute race at least, maybe 50 minutes, just depends on if safety cars and VSCs are going to slow us down just a bit. We'll see what's going to happen in that case. But so far so good with the lap times we've seen here in the qualifying session. Always some good results off of Slipstream Racing League here at Summit Division. Let's see how we're going to finish off the Q3 session. On with Mikey still in the Ferrari. 139.3 is his current lap there. Holds him in P3. Not a bad position to be starting this race. Of course, we do expect other drivers are going to get some faster times in. And he is now going to get started on his final attempt at the lap time here. And this is going to be it. No one's going to get a second chance at this, as we only have just about a minute 4 seconds remaining here in Q3. It takes about a minute 30 something seconds to get around, minute 40 seconds average to get around the track. So they're not going to have enough time to do a second qualifying lap. It's going to be the final qualifying lap for everyone currently running out on track. So let's see how it is all going to go down. Extreme is coming up behind the Ferrari here, so we're going to have a look at his time, if he's going to improve on his final run here around the circuit as well. Not looking at the purple sector 1 so far there for Mikey, so let's see if he can potentially still increase his lap time. He's about 5/10 of the time of the Mercedes currently ahead of him. So does need to improve his sector times just a bit in terms of getting a better qualifying position here. Okay, drivers. I think the top three, just a bit, top four at least, a bit close off to each other. So going to be a bit difficult to get past those lap times. See how everyone else is going to make out in terms of making it into the 138s at least. Looks like Sam Newton didn't get to make a lap time in. He is, of course, out of the session here now. We'll have to start the race in 10th. Christoph's out as well. We'll have to start there in 9th as it is there right now. Qualifying 3 officially over. Just running with drivers currently on track to finish off their final attempt at the lap here. We got Mikey on the start finish straight. Let's see if he's going to be improving his current lap at 139.365. Goes about 2 tenths faster. 139.1 was not good enough to make it over into a better position, so he's going to hold off the P3 at the moment. We got the Mercedes of Extremist now goes up into 4th at 139.2. Not a bad time from him. We do have Draft, I think, coming around next. Gets a purple sector 2 so far. I think we have both the AlphaTauris running behind of him. Not sure which one is going to be getting across the line for it. We'll have a look at that. BPM walking down to 6 and 7 right now. They do need to improve their times in terms of starting positions. Let's see what's going to happen. Drop currently fastest in the session, potentially looking to improve his lap time, 138.652. Let's see if he does get a fast time getting across the line, and does get a better time at 137.9. I think that's going to hold up pretty well. Beefy across now. It is a 139.5. Holds off to 6 for now. Walker should be getting across just behind him and goes ahead of his teammate up into 6 at 139.4 at the moment. Someone did get across the line just after. I'm not sure who that was. I think it's just SpongeBob and Maspin to get across the line next. If I look like the Mercedes has invalidated his lap. Let's have a look at where the Haas is getting it wrong here through sector 3 right about now. Let's see if he's going to improve his time. Looks like Croft might have held on to that provisional pole, and looks like he is going to be starting on pole as Maspin now gets across the line. Doesn't improve his time, keeps it in P8 at the moment. So I think we're looking at the starting order there of the top 10. Just waiting for the Mercedes to get fully into the pits, and we should be able to have a quick look at the qualifying results here for Q3. We'll have a full look at the starting grid, all 19 drivers that we potentially have there during the formation lap here around the Baku City circuit for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which we should be getting to in just about 2 minutes time. So let's have a look at the results quickly. Drafts once again fastest lap here in the qualifying session, so he's now on provisional pole for the start of this race. SpongeBob is going to be starting alongside him in 2nd. We got Mikey in 3rd, Extremist 4th, Exodus in 5th. We got Walker 6th, ahead of his teammate currently Beefy in 7th, Mazbin 8th, Christoph's in 9th, and Sam Newton didn't get to make a lap time in the session, unfortunately, but did make it over all the way to Q3. Will be starting 10th on the grid. Let's head over into the next part of the session, which is what we've been waiting for, the race session itself. See what's going to happen as you get started with that. Okay, so on to our formation lap here around the Baku City circuit. We are getting ready for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here with Slipstream racing in round 16 of the current season that we have ongoing here. So let's get tires on track. Let's have a look at what's going on here in the session. So qualifying was quite interesting. We're looking forward to a 26 lap race. We do expect some rain down at the end of the session in terms of weather so far, so it should overall be quite an interesting session. We got our qualifying results for the entire grid. Let's have a look at our starting grid as it is there right about now. We got Draw starting on pole here in P1. We got SpongeBob in the Mercedes going to be starting alongside him there in second. Mikey in the Ferrari starts in third. Extremist in the next Mercedes starts in fourth. So holding off pretty good positions there, Mercedes, I gotta say. Exes there starts in fifth. Walker will start sixth. His teammate alongside him there in seventh. We got Mazepin there in eighth. Christoph's in ninth. Sam Newton will start 10th. Maddie there starts 11th in the McLaren. Cameron starts 12th. We got Vintage will start in 13th. We got NTXJ starts 14th on the grid. Code and Controller starts in 15th. We got Tyler will be starting 16th. Chirpy starts 17th as it is right about now. Tucker starting 18th. Safdar unfortunately not getting to participate in the qualifying session in Q1 will have to start 19th on the grid. So we got a grid of 19 drivers, just one shy of a full grid here. Should be quite an interesting session overall. We got 3 drivers in total who are going to be starting the race on the soft tires here. And of those 3, we only have one of them up into the top 10. That's Christoph's there in 9th. We got Chirpy in 17th, Tucker in 18th starting on the softs. Everyone else will be starting this race on a set of medium tires, and a fresh set of medium tires that is. Let's see what's going to happen as they do get started on that. And of course, remember, we do expect a bit of rain down at the end of this race session. We're not sure if we're going to have to switch to a set of intermediates or not. Just depends on how early the rain comes down at the end, and how much rain we're actually going to have, how fast it actually does come. So we're waiting right about now for the grid to get back sorted here. I think we're going to leave this on position changes as we usually do, leave the track map on, and just I'll let you guys have a look at that as we get started on with this race. And let's see what's going to happen. I think we're just waiting for Safdar final car to get into his grid slot here, and then we should be all good to go. I think that's about it. Let's have a quick look on board here of with the Mercedes of SpongeBob. We do have draft on the right hand side, a bit of an even start, I would say, between the two of them. Let's see what happens getting down into turn 1 itself. Looks like they're going to be evenly side by side through that, and it gets off pretty well. We don't see any major damage coming off down at the back. There with contact between cars, so far so good as they all get on through. I think we're on with about Extremists here at the moment. In the next Mercedes getting through P5. Draft still leads this race, as SpongeBob still running in second, there about 2 tenths behind. We got Walker and Beefy very close off to each other. Of course, Walker now getting up a position against the Mercedes, and I think he's going to try to hold that position as much as he can. It looks like Beefy has a bit of contact with the wall down at the back there, but still keeps the car going. Not sure if he took any damage on the end plates, but still so far so good as we get started on the race. Draft still leads out front, SpongeBob in second, and I think he's lost just about 3 tenths so far off the start, and I think he's trying to keep that going as much as he can. Let's get this back and running here and see what's going to happen. Looks like we got a full safety car for something's happened somewhere down at the back. I think most likely with Tucker there. So that's going to be going on through for the moment. Let's see if we're going to have any pit stops in the way happen as we get on through this current portion of the race. Just getting started. We're still on the opening lap here for a 26 lap race. And of course, we're trying to follow on what's happening out front. Everyone's still running under safety car conditions here at the moment. Getting through, still haven't got around to get behind the safety car because we have to get into the next lap for that. So we're looking at getting back racing somewhere around lap 4 at this point here. Pit stop strategy looking at most likely a 1 stop or a 2 stop, just depends what's going to happen. Of course, we know that we're going to have some rain, so that's going to change the pit strategy of these cars up just a bit. So let's see what's going to happen in that case as we get around to that. So we're holding off at the moment for this, see what's happening with the order as we have it. Everyone keeping about a few tenths behind each other. Oh, the 10th or 2 actually behind each other as they get through the opening lap. Getting through behind the safety car, still going through. We're going to have a look, see if we're going to have any pit stops happen here in the session. Looks like Christoph's is currently getting into the pits. Maddie as well. Potentially might have taken some damage on that opening lap, which is why we would expect some pit stops right about now. So the grid order is going to be changing up just a bit here right about now as we have the Williams still leading behind the safety car. Of course, we're waiting till around lap 4 is where we're going to see the cars get back racing. As we did talk about this a bit in qualifying, we did expect that potentially we might be seeing a safety car on the opening lap, not necessarily out for the front of the grid, most likely for incident happening somewhere in the midfield down to the back of the grid, which is I think where it happened down at the back there with Tucker starting somewhere on the back half of the grid. I think something did happen between him and another driver. I'm not sure if it was self-inflicted or what happened exactly. But he's still in this race. He's currently in the pits right about now. Still runs. We still have all 19 drivers in this. And potentially going to be able to go off to the end of the race. We'll see what's going to happen. How many drivers will be finishing this race out of 19? We'll have a look at that as we get further on in. The rain, of course, coming down later in the session will change things up a bit. We're going to keep an eye out and see when it does start to get a bit cloudy here on track. Highly doubt these guys are enjoying driving behind that safety car right about now. I'm quite sure majority of them, especially those out in front of the drafter, will be one of them, does want to be getting back on the way with the race here in terms of keeping his position out there in P1. He was starting to get a bit of a gap, had gained already about 2 or 3 tenths off of the Mercedes behind of him. Walker, of course, already up 1 position ahead of the Mercedes of Extremist. Beef is still down there in 7th. He was trying to get by as well. I had a bit of contact with the wall. Don't think he took any damage though, because he's still running out on track. I think everyone's just trying to catch back up to the safety car at this point here so we can get this race back on the way again. We got a drive-through penalty for Chirpy. They're falling too far back apparently from the car in front of him. We gotta keep a certain gap. And if you do drive too slow, you're gonna lose that gap, and they do give you a penalty for such situations here in the race itself. Okay, so we're currently in lap 3. We should be able to get back racing into lap 4 and see what's going to happen as these guys get around this current lap here. We do expect, hopefully, by the time we get around into sector 3, they should give us a notification from race control whether we're going to get back racing or not at this point. So let's see what's going to happen. So as we saw earlier on in the previous lap, I think it was Chirpy there getting a drive-through penalty. He is, of course, not going to be able to serve that right about now. We'll have to wait until the safety car is over. Then we'll have 3 laps after that time to serve that drive-through penalty. And it definitely is going to hold him back in the race just a bit. Of course, not going to be losing any more positions than he's lost already down to 19th. But he will be quite a way behind. Tucker there will have to catch her back to the rest of the grid. Let's see what's going to happen as we get around to that. We're getting into sector 3 right about now. Let's see if we're going to be getting back racing here or not. Let's see, should be getting around the next turn into sector 3. And there we go. So safety car is going to be in on this current lap here. We're going back racing into lap 4. The safety car has slowed the race down just a bit. This is why I said it usually takes about between 45 to 50 minutes for a race. Yes, depends on how many safety cars we usually do have in the session itself. But I think we should be able to finish in a reasonable amount of time. So let's see how we get along with that. Pretty close gap between all the cars here at the moment, as we are still under a safety car going. We're about to finish that off. We're going to see a lot of weaving from the cars coming off the grid there. Just trying to keep everything up to temperature, especially those tires there as they're about to get back racing. Let's see how well it's going to go back into the race area itself as they're about to get back racing right about now. Just waiting for a draft to get back going. And I think he's going to start to do that as he gets around into the next lap here right now. We're back racing again. Let's see what's happening down at the back of the grid, especially there. I think we're going to try to pull it around at the middle of the grid, somewhere around where Extremis is. Let's see what's happening. As you know, Walker's going to try to gain some positions as much he can here, and trying to keep eye on board. He has excess in front of him in the Alpine, Mikey in front of that, and let's see how well that's going on through for him. He's bringing a pretty close gap to the Alpine in front of him. Let's see if he's able to keep that going on through. So far so good after that restart. Doesn't seem like we have any issues in terms of getting back this race on the way. Does look like Draft is leading quite a bit out front, though. 1.7 seconds he now leads against the Mercedes. Got a pretty good head start after getting that race restarted. Mikey there in third, about almost a second down. Excess just about 3/10 behind. Walker another 4/10 behind. Extremis pretty close out behind Walker there as well. BB trying to keep as much as he can. Soft there, losing a bit of time to Sam Newton right now. Looks like Tyler gets a position there in P11 right about down, puts Mazepin down to 12, so not too bad in terms of gaining a position off the track there as he gets through into sector 3. We're getting into lap 5 pretty soon, as we do have Excess and Walker trying to go side by side for P4 here. Let's see how that's going for him. Looks like Walker is getting the position up on him at the moment as he's side by side with him, getting through into turn, has the outside. And looks like he gets the position up quite well at the moment there. Excess trying to get it back to us. He now gets back around the holds back into P4, not allowing Walker to take away the position at this point in the race here. Let's see if he can get it back. Going through the sector 1 here still. The DR zone might have helped him out just a bit. He takes it on the inside here, and looks like he potentially does get it back done. Trying to have a look on the rear wing here, and a bit of contact I think between Excess and Walker. The Extreme trying to keep up behind. We do have Beefy just behind of that as well, as there are call coming on through, and a bit of a train coming as well. Let's see, hopefully they can keep it clean getting on through this portion of the track. Draft out in front, leading quite well as he's now up by about 3.1 seconds against the Mercedes. SpongeBob though still running in P2 in this race, but has quite a way to catch up to the Williams in front of him. Let's see if he's able to keep that going. Walker now coming under a bit of pressure though from Extremis down behind, because he's catching up pretty quickly. Of course, Walker's team and Beefy is just about 2/10 behind that Mercedes as well. So let's see how this advantage is going to work out, because I think Beefy is going to try to put the Mercedes under a bit of pressure. He's going to try to get past on the inside of that turn, now getting around. We got both AlphaTauris side by side getting through on into the next lap. Got the Mercedes down to 7th right now. Let's see who gets up the position. Looks like Beefy is now up into 5th. Walker is getting into the pits. He's going to have a change of tires apparently here. Not sure if we took any damage though. Let's have a look if he's going to change the front wing or not. But Beefy is up into 5th. Extreme is now still running in 6th. Soundtown now gets up into 7th. Looks like they are doing a front wing change. Might have taken some damage there, and he's going to have to change that, get back out on track. Now going to lose quite a few positions there because a bit of time taken up on the wing change, but now it's going to get back out on track. Let's have a look what's happening out back on track here with Extreme is chasing after the AlphaTauri Beefy here, still trying to get back around him. Not having the best of luck as he now has Savdar just less than a 10th behind, as he now tries to get side by side on the outside, get around, but not able to get the overtake done as yet. But of course still going to continue that chase here on lap 6 of 26. I think I'm going to keep an eye on this, see how well this battle is going to go off through here at the moment. Mikey there just about 9/10 right now behind the Mercedes, who is losing more time to drop there and who's currently still in the lead. Mikey there still gonna try to keep as much as he can. XS though trying to keep his gap under a second right now, trying to keep his DRS advantage alive if he can, getting through. Again, Beefy loses a bit of time though towards the Alpine in front of him. 2.1 seconds is what he has to catch up right about now. Extremist another 8 tenths just behind. Softar another 7 tenths. Walker quite a bit behind. 20.8 seconds there in P8. Of course, he did take his first pit stop and had to do a wing change. Lost him a bit of time though, but he is going to be gaining back a few positions once these cars in front of him have to do their pit stop. So let's see what's going to happen in that case. Looks like we have Extremist getting around the AlphaTauri of Beefy. He gets back now up into 5th. And he's going to try to hold that position on true. We got the Alpine of XS holding on to P4. Got Beefy and Extremist are still fighting for that position there. Still about a 2-10 gap between these two as they get on through into the next lap. Let's see how much farther this is going to continue on. I think we're going to just have a quick look at XS here. He's chasing after Mikey right about now, so a pretty close gap between him and the Ferrari, and then the Mercedes SpongeBob just in front of that. Of course, this here is a fight for P2 in the race, as the leader is 6.3 seconds ahead of them, so they're trying to just keep up with each other as much as they can. Gap is pretty close out between them. They're going to have to be very careful with the close gaps as well on a very narrow circuit here, as this one here, just trying to make sure that they don't have contact with each other and just keep the cars out of the barriers as well. Just trying to keep their positions as it is, and hopefully we'll be able to get an overtake done at some point to gain some positions, so they have to finish right where they are. Still will be able to gain enough points there for the team itself, as it is dropped to have an impressive lead off of the other cars here on the grid. 6.9 seconds, now up to 7 seconds, and he's quite clear of everyone else. Running a bit of clean air out in front there, so Kristoff's now into the pits, so he's going to get a change of tires there as well. See what's going to happen here. Looks like Mikey's trying to get on the inside of that Mercedes, and he does get ahead just before a safety car happens here as well. So I don't think SpongeBob is going to be able to do back an overtake here and possibly get past him in the next DR zone that was going to be coming up here. And looks like it's Cameron Poulter there out of the race in the Haas. And that's caused a second safety car here on track. We're definitely potentially looking and getting some tire changes happening. Pit stops definitely going to happen here. Let's bring tires online, see what's going to happen. As everyone who's changed tires so far, looks like they've gone on to the harder tires at the moment there, and they're running on with that. Let's see how this second safety car here is going to change things up just a bit, because we do expect quite a few pit stops might be happening here on the track. Okay, sorry about that. Just have to get off for a second or so. Back on with this. We're still on with our second safety car here in the session. Of course, our grid order has changed up quite a bit here right about now, as we're now looking at Drop still leading the race. Mikey now up into second. X is down to third. Beefy running fourth. Softar in fifth. SpongeBob running now sixth. Was running second before. Now switching up with Walker a bit. The thing now is in Walker's in seventh. Sam Newton in eighth. Chirpy in ninth. Extremist 10th. Tyler in 11th. We got Maddie 12th. Got Coden controlling in 13, Vintage 14, Mazepin 15, we got NTXJ in 16, Christoph 17, Tucker there currently 18th on the grid, Cameron Poulter, our first driver out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We're down to 18 drivers still remaining in the session off of the 19 that we started with. We're currently onto lap 10 here at the moment. We should be getting back racing into lap 11, I'm hoping as well. So let's see what's going to happen as we close off down to the end of this lap. Particularly just pull the wire out. Hopefully everything is running pretty good still and you guys can still hear me. Didn't actually expect that wire to actually come out of the mic, but I think we're good. Back again. Alright, so yes, I think we're in for what we're talking about. Either way, let's see what's gonna happen as these guys get back started. Hoping as they get down to the end of this lap we're getting back racing. Should be into lap 11. Let's see what's going to happen. That as they now get around sector 2. I think one driver, Tucker, there is the only driver yet to catch up to the rest of the grid possibly, as well as Christoph's, as well as it looks. Well, hopefully they do catch up there. In the meanwhile, these guys are getting back around and now should be getting to the final sector pretty soon. See what's going to happen in that case as they get around here. But as we have it there, a pretty interesting order that we have it. Let's see what's going to happen as we get around. Remember, we do expect a bit of rain down at the end of the session, so I want to see what's going to happen as we get around to that. Okay, so now getting into sector 3 here with a safety car. Let's see if we're getting any notifications from race control. And if we don't, then that means we're going to have to run just one more lap under the safety car. And that's going to put us into lap 12 to get back to racing. Because it doesn't seem like we're getting back racing right about now. But as far as you can see, that safety car is staying out at this point here. So it looks like we do have to go just one more lap under the safety car before we get back racing. So I'll put that up to lap 12 there as it is. So let's let that be for a second. If you did miss the start of the race, guys, do have a look at that when we finish the stream, as you won't be able to have back a look at that right about now. It was quite an interesting qualifying session. Start of the race not too bad off. Did have a safety car on the opening lap, of course with an incident somewhere down at the back of the grid though, and I think that was Luke Tucker, I think it was, but he was not out of the race, still kept on going through even what happened. Cameron, of course, off not too long ago, a few laps ago, which is what caused the second safety car here in the race session, unfortunately. And I think we're coming down to the end of that right about now, though. We're gonna get back racing into lap 12 of 26. We're approaching the halfway point of this race here at Azerbaijan right now, so let's see what's gonna happen as we get close off to the end. Looking at what we got right now, soft out there on the soft tires, of course. So he's looking potentially to gain some positions off the restart after the safety car. We'll see what's going to happen. Draft, of course, extended to about a 7-second lead after the first safety car was over with, just before we had this one. So let's see what's going to happen with his lead as this safety car goes in, because he has quite an advantage being out front as well. Controls the grid after the safety car goes in to get the race back on the way. And it makes that quite useful for himself in terms of trying to get ahead of the Ferrari there now. There was a Mercedes or SpongeBob behind of him. Let's see if he's going to be able to get away from Mikey here. Gap is currently about 6/10 between them as they will now approach the entry point into Sector 3 here on the track. beautiful landscapes as we can see on the overhead cam getting around. Here we have a safety car in on this current lap, so we're getting back racing into lap 12. Takes us into the next lap, then it goes into lap 13. That's going to be a halfway point of the race. Okay, so we can see the Williams of Draft holding back the grid as much as he can out front until he is actually ready to go. I think he's already gone there. Of course, no overtaking until they get across the line. Looks like the Alpine of XS is going to try to get past the Ferrari here, though. I think they're going 3 wide into turn 1. Let's see how well that works out for them. Looks like the Williams gets out in front. We do have XS, though, and Beefy having a bit of a tussle down in the back there as Beefy tries to get it wrong on the outside. Tries to follow along behind the Ferrari. Has the McLaren or Softar coming behind of him. Let's see what's happening down in the back of the grid. Behind with these guys. So SpongeBob there in P6 trying to get past the McLaren as well as he now gets up into 5th and tries to keep up with the Alpine here. Walker down there in 7th as you see coming down behind, and I'm trying to see where is Beefy in front. I think he is running just behind Mikey. Let's have a look what's happening again because it's a bit more interesting as they all get around here. But holding off to their positions now pretty well. BP gets up to 3rd though. Not too bad on him, and X is down to 4th. SpongeBob now running 5th. Softar in 6th. Walker up to 7th and running. And he's of course is definitely going to try to gain some time if he can. There's Softar trying to make those soft tires work for him and potentially just gain some position as much as he can. And we can see the sun starting to go just away a bit here. Does mean that they will be definitely some rain coming down to the end of the session. We're just hoping to see when it's going to start to drizzle along here, which might be going into the second half of this race, so going to make it a bit interesting. Already a 2-second gap between Draft and the Ferrari of Mikey there. That's for the lead, of course, out in front. Beefy running towards 7/10 behind. XS another 6/10 followed by SpongeBob 5/10. Softar 7/10. Walker another 1.4 seconds. He's out of DRS range when that comes out online. Sam Newton behind of him by 3/10 along with the Extremists, another 3/10. Needs to be careful. He is going to be under pressure from the Alfa Romeo just behind of him, who is now going to try to get alongside him here on the outside into the next lap. And let's see if that's going to work for him. They're going to go side by side into turn 1. Looks like Walker is going to lose that position. He's down to 8 now against the Alfa Romeo. Going to try to pull it back around the outside, though. I think he definitely will. Has the Mercedes of Extremes behind of him as he keeps going with that position. Are we having some drizzle on track? I think we are already starting to have some drizzle on track. Track temperature definitely is going to start to drop here as we already have the rain setting in as we hit the halfway point of this race. Going to make it quite a bit interesting now to see what's going to happen in terms of cars getting into the pits. It does look like this rain is going to come down pretty quickly, so they're going to have to be switching onto those intermediates in just a few laps time, as we're going to see what's going to happen with that case. Already Maddie is into the pits, getting onto the intermediates. Why do I feel like it's a bit too early for that? Excess out of the race here. Safety car for that situation here, and definitely they're all going to duck into the pits and get onto those intermediates right about now. I assume they will. At this point, they're not going to want to waste any time on it, and hopefully by the end of the safety cars, when the rain is going to be around enough and just be at the point where it does need the intermediate tires on track. Let's see what's going to happen if that's the decision that's going to be made. Of course, Maddie there in the McLaren down in 17, already on the intermediate. Does he have any grip on track? There is no standing water as yet. There's still a bit of sun out, and the rain is not just that much here as yet, so I would assume we still need a few more laps before getting onto these intermediates. But he's already made the switch. 2 drivers now fully out of this session. Let's see what's going to happen out in front with a Draft here. Does he make the move into the pits for the intermediates on this current lap, or is he going to wait just a lap or 2 more? I'm not sure, because we are under a safety car, of course. It's going to make it a bit difficult for them to wait on another lap to do this, and does look like he is going to possibly make the move to go into the pits here. Cutting a bit close to this, and yep, he does dive into the pits. Let's see what sort of tires he's going to go on, because it does look like the track is starting to have some water on it there, and it's going to have some standing water in the meanwhile. The safety car is still running around there, not going to be running at full racing speed. Does look like all the crews are coming out. We're going to have everyone get into the pit lane right about now and definitely go on to a set of intermediates. Looks like Mikey's made the choice of going on to a set of wet tires, and I think that might have been possibly been a mistake there on his end. I'm not sure if he actually meant to do that. But let's see what's going to happen. Looks like Sam Newton goes on to the full wets as well. So this is a bit of an interesting situation happening. I'm not sure if this is a mistake on their end, or they've actually chosen to go onto the full wets, whereas everyone else is now choosing the intermediates. We would expect them to choose the intermediates at this point, but how much rain are we expecting here on track is a question. Of course, we're still running under a safety car, so it does save them a bit with these intermediates in terms of keeping them going until the rain starts to come just a bit more in the next 2 laps time, as we will be still running with these intermediates and under full wet conditions. The track should have enough standing water to displace by then, so make it easier for these guys to drive in the intermediates, build up some heat in the tires in the meanwhile as well. Either way, let's see what's going to happen. But the Ferrari down there in second has on those full wets. I want to see if that's going to be an advantage or disadvantage to him here. Have two drivers chosen to make the correct decision at this point here. Will the rain be that heavy by the end of this safety car session that we do need the full wets? Because it doesn't seem to be coming on that strongly right about now. Actually, it seems to be coming on quite a bit more. So let's see what's going to happen as we get forward on to the end of the safety car here. And looks like Walker is out of the session as well. I'm not sure what happened. Well, it does look like something happened here in the under the safety car itself. I believe that's caused Walker to be out of the session. So that's now 3 drivers out. 16 now remain out of our total of 19 that we started with. Draft in the lead. Mikey running second on full wets, whereas everyone else is on the intermediates with the exception of Sam Newton here as well, who's on the full wets there in P6. BP in third. Gets one drop fourth. Sam Dar in fifth. Tyler 7. Extreme is currently 8. Maddie in 9. Vintage in 10. We got Codon in 11th, Entex J in 12th, we got Chirpy 13th, Christoph's 14th, Mazepin 15th, Tucker there in 16th. Let's see how this is going to work out going off to the end of this race here. At the moment as it is, it's looking pretty good for those on the intermediates. Not sure what the situation is going to be for the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo currently running on the full wet tires here. Is the rain that heavy at this point here? It has come down quite a bit, but has it come down enough for the full wets, or is it still going to be enough for the intermediates to run off to the end of the session? Okay, so it looks like we're about to get back racing here as Drop now leads the grid into the next lap here, and that's lap 16 as he now gets back started. So let's see what his lead is going to be against him, the Ferrari behind of him who's running on full wets. Who has a better advantage? We want to see what's going to happen here. Looks like Sam Newton is back into the pits though, along with Mazepin. Not sure what happened down in the back there. I'm not sure what the switch is going to be. It looks like they're both going on to a new set of wets here. So Sam Newton gone on to a new set of wets. Mazepin onto a now going onto a set of wets. He was on a set of intermediates. Is the rain onto the point where it needs the full wet tires at this point here in the session right about now is what we're trying to figure out, because Beefy now still on the intermediates running behind Mikey here, and Draft, if he not having the best of luck, he should be not gaining a gap against the Ferrari, which he still is. 2.8 seconds is what it is up to right about now. And Beefy looks like he's caught up quite closely behind the Ferrari at this point. So let's see if he's going to be able to get an overtake done and going into maybe into lap 17. We'll see what's going to happen, because I think they're being a bit held up right about now, possibly by the Ferrari or Mikey, I'm not sure. This is going to be a bit dependent right about now how much sand water is on track and which tires is actually the fastest tire here on track. We would expect the intermediates to run much better at this point here right about now, but it seems like the wets, full wets, are running quite well. The Ferrari has a bit of contact with the wall there and leaves a bit of room open now. Beefy gets up into second place on the grid. Mike is now down to third. He has SpongeBob behind him. Company is going to try to get past, potentially going to the next lap on that start finish straight, and I think that's what's going to happen. Salvador in the McLaren coming just behind of that as well. We got Chirpy out of this race. The rain has changed the order of the race up just a bit. We're down to 15 drivers remaining out of 19. Let's see what's going to happen. Drop still leads by 5.6 seconds. Mikey down to third. SpongeBob now just about a 10 behind, side by side with the Ferrari into the next lap as he now goes, and looks like he's going to get ahead on the inside as he's trying to get the Ferrari. Goes just a bit wide, loses another position, or 2 positions right now. He's down to 6. Software takes over 4th. Extremist goes up into 5th. SpongeBob did get away with his 3rd place, and that's Mikey down to 6 positions on these full wets. Is he going to push these tires all the way to the end of the race? I'm not sure what's going to happen here, because I think he's hoping that those intermediates give up on these guys, that the rain becomes too much and they will have to make a switch, and he then gets back these positions. I think that's what he's hoping for at this point. Let's see if that's going to happen. Kodan down to 7th right about now, running just behind. Let's see if he's going to be gaining any positions or not. We got Extremist chasing after Softar right about now. Pretty close gap between them. It's about half a second, and just going under that right now. Let's see if he's going to keep going at that point. Kodan trying to get past the Ferrari down at the back there, so I'm not sure if he's going to get any advantage in doing that. Let's see if he does make that overtake stick or not. Sam Newton on his fresh set of wets, running in 13. Mazepin back into the pits once again. Not sure what's happening with Mazepin on the back of the grid. Got about a 7-10 gap there with SpongeBob and Beefy right about now. So those two are going to be fighting it out for 2nd place in this race. Neither of them with a penalty right about now. Only one driver currently holds a penalty on track, and that's Matty there in P14 at this point. See what's going to happen. SpongeBob 7-10, so let's see if he's able to gain a bit of time. Mikey here now down to 7th on the grid. Let's see what's going to happen in that situation. We're back up with SpongeBob in the Mercedes out in P3. Chasing after the AlphaTauri. Beefy is a 7th gap. Let's see if he gains an advantage going down the start finish straight to head into lap 18. At this point, already got dropped into lap 18, 7.4 seconds ahead of these guys at this point in the race. Looks like Intex J about to gain a position there against the Ferrari, and he gets a position. His teammate Tyler coming behind of that. See what's going to happen in that case. It looks like Extremist is now into the pits. Are we going to see a switch over to the full wets from him? Let's see what's going to happen. I think he's gone on to a new set of intermediates. Might have done a wing change possibly there. So definitely quite a lot of rain on track here at this point in the race. We're just trying to keep an eye, see what's going on. So 8.1 seconds, but the camp is out in front with Draft and Beefy, and that is of course for the lead. So he's gonna get away with that quite well. We got SpongeBob of course chasing after Beefy there in second. Still, this chase is ongoing. It's about 9 tenths that separates the two of them. Now down to about 7 tenths. See what's happening with Soft Dart down behind that in fourth. Has some time to catch up. Of course, DRS of course offline right about now because of wet conditions on track. Cadman has been out to this race as well, so that's 14 drivers remaining. We got Kodan down in 5th, NTXJ 6th, Mikey running 7th on those full wet still. And we got Tyler there in 8th. We got Vintage there in 9th, about 2 tenths behind. He now gets ahead of the Red Bull. Let's see if the Red Bull is able to get it back at this point here. And we got Tucker out of this race. Something's happened to him, and it's a full safety car for that incident there. We're down to 13 drivers remaining. This rain session definitely has eliminated quite a lot of drivers out of the session. We're on lap 18 at this point. This potentially will end up being our final safety car here in the session, because I think after this will just be a few laps remaining to finish off the race. At this point, I'm definitely seeing some pit stops out in front. Let's see what's happening with Draft here, and he's getting back out on a new set of intermediates, whereas Beefy is now getting back out on track on a new set of full wet tires. Now he's made that switch onto the full wets, and let's see if that's going to benefit him at this point or not here. SpongeBob continues out on in front, doesn't take the pit stop. We still have a bit of way more to go, at least 7.5 laps or so more to go in this race before we close off the session. We got Sofdar in second, didn't take a stop. Draft took his stop. He is now running in third. Beefy running in fourth, but of course he did a stop, but not to the set of full wets. Vintage, who didn't do a stop, he's all in the fifth. Chris stops now to 6, and Texay took a stop, he's down in 7. Extremist took a stop, he's in 8. Conan took a stop, he's in 9th. And let's see what's going to change as we get on with the order. Okay, so still down into lap 19 right about now. We're looking at potentially getting back racing somewhere at lap 21 at least, maybe lap 22, maybe lap 21 at most, and gives us about 5.5 laps, 5 or 6 laps of racing to go. We'll see what's going to happen around that time when we do get around to it. So still under the safety car running, having a look at Beef right now on these full wets, seeing to try to see how much grip is he having on them, and is the track fully wet enough to run with these tires. Sam Newton all the way down into 13th right about now with his new set of full wets that he's currently on and running with. Mikey has changed off from his full wets to a new set of intermediates. So he's made a switch from the wets back to the intermediates after that safety car. He is now currently running in 11th. Let's see what's going to be the advantage here. Is those the full wets, is it going to be a disadvantage to Beefy when he gets back started with this race? It's going to be just a few laps remaining, but is he going to be able to hold on to his position going off to the end of the race? Well, that's what we're going to try to see. Let's get back on the overhead cam and have a look at what's happening. Currently on a lap 20 here. I think we're probably going another lap with this. guess we're gonna have the safety car get back in the pit lane on this lap here. We're getting back racing into lap 21. So let's see what's gonna happen out in front. Of course, remember SpongeBob and Stop did not do a stop. Drop did a stop already. Has been having significant pace during the dry and wet portions of the race. Let's see what the advantage is going to be as we get back started with this race here right about now. Out in front, trying to have a look on. He's already about 2 tenths behind Sabda. We're going to see what's going to happen with Beefy though. On the full wets right about now, 4 tenths behind the Williams. Let's see what happens. And there's quite a bit of a drift from the Ferrari of Vintage. And he's still going to keep that going. Let's see what's going to happen the rest of it as we get on through with this here. Out in front, looks like Draft already trying to get an overtake done against the McLaren. He's already up into second. We got Beefy chasing after Safdar here. He is of course running fourth now. Let's see if he's going to be able to get an advantage up using those full wets or not, and what's going to happen the rest of the cars on the intermediates at this point here, because they're still trying to figure out if it's wet enough on track for these guys to make that change. We got 12 drivers remaining in this race right about now. We got Safdar trying to pull away from the AlphaTauri behind of him, trying to see if that's going to continue on getting into the next portion of the track here, the next sector of the track. Out in front, Draft now up into second, 6 tenths behind SpongeBob, who's currently leading the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Didn't do a stop though on that last safety car, so 6 laps on those intermediates. Can he pull off another 6 laps before closing off this race here is the question. And looks like Draft might have the advantage on him. Beefy is out of the session. I think he's retired off. What's happened to his car? Let's see where he's at. I think he's ended up in the wall somehow there, because those full wets definitely not doing him any justice at that point. We got Sam Newton still on the full wets and running here, and that's caused another safety car here in the race itself with Beefy's car on track. Definitely should be the final one getting through the final few laps, and I think that should be cleared off quite quickly, so we shouldn't be going more than 2 laps under the safety car here before we get back racing. That's going to take us into lap 25 and 26, I believe, with just racing. Hopefully lap 24, we'll see what's going to happen around lap 22. I think we should go back and racing around lap 24. That leaves us with now 11 drivers remaining. Gives us about 3 laps more of racing to go before the session comes off to an end. The rain definitely starting to come down quite a bit more. So is it actually time for the full wet tires at this point in the session right now? Because as we can see, the rain definitely is currently setting up quite a lot. SpongeBob holding on to the lead here against Draft there, who's currently still in second. Safdar running in third. Extremist in fourth. Vintage fifth. Got Tyler in sixth. NTXJ in seventh. Sam Newton still now runs in 8th. 90 switches on to the full west. He's running 9th. Christoph's in 10th. Got Mikey there in 11th. Into the pits now, getting onto a new set of intermediates as it seems right now. Okay, so quick safety car lap there. We're gonna have the safety car going at the end of this lap. Looks like we're getting back racing into lap 23. So we're gonna give us at least 4 laps of racing to finish off the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and let's see what's gonna happen in those final 4 laps. SpongeBob still holds on to this lead. I think he might have wanted to hope that there were gonna be 1 more lap on the safety car. Maybe would have given him 1 less lap to worry about against Draft here. Drop there now done 2 laps on his set of tires. SpongeBob has done 7. Let's see what's going to happen as we go into the final few laps of this race here. around the Baku City circuit, and going to be quite interesting to see whether Draft or SpongeBob is going to be able to take the win here. SpongeBob is going to have a heck of a time defending against that Williams, because he does have quite a bit of pace here on the track. And let's see if he can carry that advantage through. SpongeBob trying to get a bit of a lead off of Draft as he gets back into the race here. Draft goes a bit wide there on that first turn. I think we're still on the safety car. Why are we still on the safety car going? We're supposed to be back racing here. I don't know why the safety car is still running. Because it's not showing the safety car anymore. That was a bit, I think we're on with a bit of a glitch in this session here, guys, because the safety car is still on track and it's still running on through. Hopefully that doesn't cause a bit of a headache on with the results and whatnot. Not sure why that's still out and running though. Alright, so everyone gets on through the race. Either way, SpongeBob still leads against Dropper in second. Extreme is still running in third. Sabdar in the McLaren running in fourth. His teammate in sixth. Sam Newton in the middle of them. Let's see how this continues on through. And I think just a yellow flag situation just happened there for a second, but I think we're good. Still on lap 23 going on through. First lap after this final safety car goes on in. Well, I think it's still out on track. Potentially still out on track. Who knows what's going on with it. Maddie on the full wets running in sixth. Let's see how much of an advantage he's going to get against drivers around him in terms of closing off this race here right about now. We have just a few minutes more to go at this point. SpongeBob still continues on with the lead against that Williams there in second place. And he definitely is going to try to get past as much as he can. Let's see if that's going to be coming to his advantage or not. The Mercedes holds off the lead so far, going into sector 3 of lap 23. It's an 8-10 gap as they get around sector 3. Let's see what's going to happen down the start finish straight. Who's going to have the advantage? Is Draft going to get a bit into the slipstream of that Mercedes? And looks like he definitely does. 2/10 is what the gap is, and it's looking like he might potentially be able to get that overtake done as he keeps as close as he can. Now pulls off to the inside. Has his teammate coming down there in third. Let's see what's going to happen. Looks like the Williams now gets up into second place. Sorry, into first. SpongeBob down to second. His teammate coming behind him in third now. So both Mercedes looking to finish 2-3 on the podium if possible here. Let's see if that's going to be the case or not as we get on through with the rest of this session. SpongeBob though has a pretty good position still to finish off this race. The Extreme is not too bad to be finishing their third on the grid now. We have a podium position for both Mercedes cars if they can keep these positions up going down to the end of the session on lap 24. Sabdar there just about 1.1 second behind of them and running. Dropped out in front, already carrying off with a lead of 1.8 seconds against both Mercedes here, and he's going to try to keep that going. Got both Red Bulls running 8th and 9th at the moment there, one on the wets, one on the intermediates. Let's see if that's going to help. Maddie there in 6th right about now. And looks like the Mercedes just switched positions. Extreme is just now took over second place. SpongeBob is now down to third, now down to 5th actually. So what's happening to his car down at the back here? Not sure if he potentially took any damage. We have the McLaren of Maddie now going past him there as well. But he's losing positions like crazy at this point. He is down to 7th. Was running second on the grid. Not sure what happened. It did look like they make a switch with the Mercedes, and now he's down to 7th. His team is still running up there in second. Definitely a lot of water on track as the rain has come down quite heavily at this point. Looking like it's definitely ready for full wet tires on track here though. On lap 25 of 26, so not the point where anyone is going to be wanting to change tires at this point, getting on through. Let's head back out in front, have a look what's happening with the lead of the race at this point here. Draft leads by 4.2 seconds. That's a pretty decent gap against Extremist, who's currently second. Safdar 1.5 seconds behind us. Sam Newton is within a second of Safdar. Of course, no DRS advantage, but still running in a pretty good position. Is between the two McLarens. And let's see how much he carries on with that going off to the end of the race. Maddie there on the full wets. He's doing pretty well in 5th. Hasn't lost that position so far. Monkey there in 6th, NTXJ 7th, SpongeBob all the way down to 8th, now going on to the full wets, as the rest of the cars behind him have just made that switch as well. Tyler, Vintage and Christophs on full wets getting on through. Bit of a gap though between them and the rest of the grid. Of course, SpongeBob still looking at getting some points. They're finishing this car there P8 as it is right about now. Let's have a look at where draft is at this point, getting through castle section, and going to be finishing off this lap pretty soon, getting into the final lap of this race. Just trying to have a look, see how his current grip level is with these intermediates, and definitely looks like he's doing pretty well in terms of finishing the race itself on that set of tires that he's currently on. Gonna go on with Matt here in the McLaren in P5. Let's see what his situation is. Still on his full wets, running 3/10 behind Sam Newton at this point here, and I think he's trying to get an overtake done. I want to see if he's going to be able to get this going into the final lap of the race. The gap is now just a 10th between the two of them, and I think that's going to change going into lap 26, the final lap. As the McLaren has a pretty good run against Sam Newton here, and of course the track now favoring the full wet tires. Still runs pretty well on, I think, decent with the intermediates as it is right about now, but that McLaren trying to get behind his teammate, not able to pull the overtake off at this point here. Let's see if he's still going to keep it going side by side with the Alfa Romeo, and I'm going to try to get it on the inside of turn 2. And looks like he does get the overtake done. He's now up into P4, going to chase after his teammate and try to keep the position as it is there right about now. Draft already into the final lap and still leading by about 5.1 seconds as it is right about now. So he should be able to finish this race off and take a win here for Azerbaijan. And I think it's going to definitely be some useful points there for him in the Drivers' Championship, as well as for his team there for the Constructors. We'll have a look at the standings next week into the next race during the qualifying session and see where we're at in terms of the driver standings and with the constructor standings here after this round 16 of the current championship here with SLIPSTREAM Racing League Sunday division. Still on with a draft here as he rounds through sector 2 at the moment. I'm going to wait until he gets across the line and see at least what the gap is going to be when he finishes here. It's still a fine now, 310 gap actually between. That's actually what's happening here, because between Safdar and Matt is a 310 gap, and it's coming down just a bit more as they get through sector 2. About to get into sector 3 there. See if those McLarens are going to be switching positions, because the track definitely favoring the wet tires a lot more as he's trying to get by. Trying to have a look and see where our race leader is at this point here. So draft here. Top of the leaderboards there for qualifying 1, qualifying 2, and qualifying 3. Started the race there, and he's about to get across the line here and take the win here at Azerbaijan, and quite a well-deserved win for him there, I think, as well. Keeping going on those intermediates all the way to the end across the line. Extremist now finishes his second on the podium, not bad finish here. Safdar gets across the line, third on the podium. His team at P4. The safety car is still out on track. I don't know what he's doing there. Sam Newton finishes P5. We got NTXJ takes 6, Mikey takes 7 so far. Let's see what's going to happen here with SpongeBob. He should be coming across the line to take P8 at this point. And I think we might have to wait just a few seconds more for Vintage and the Red Bull of Tyler and Kristen. Kristoff's coming just behind of that Red Bull there as well, just about by about the 10th. And I think he gets by up into P10. That's the final point in the session we'll be fighting for. So Vintage is going to come across the line. He takes P9 in this one. Kristoff's is going to take 10. Tyler has retired off the session. I think he's DNF the session. They're in sector 3, and I think that's going to be a wrap here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here with SLIPSTREAM Racing Sunday Division. That was round 16, guys, of the current season that we're currently on. I think quite a few more races still to go before closing of the season here. Safdar gets driver of the day there. Good job for the McLaren driver on getting that there. Not a bad finish for him. Pretty impressive drive as well. Let's have a look at the preliminary results here for the race session round 16. Draft, of course, on top of the board for Q1, 2, and 3 and the race session, takes the win for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Gets the fastest lap there as well at 141.2 in the race. Extremist takes second place on the podium. Safdar takes third on the podium, and driver of the day, not a bad finish for him. We got Maddie taking fourth. There, McLaren third and fourth, some decent points for them. Sam Newton takes fifth in the Alfa Romeo. Entex J6. Mikey finishes seventh in the Ferrari. We got SpongeBob finishing eighth, and should have been able to finish a bit higher, but had some problems in the race there. Vintage finishing 9th. Chris House finishes 10th, and I think that was the drivers who finished the race. Tyler made it to the final sector, the final lap, and didn't get across there. Unfortunately, that was for him there. 19 drivers started, 10 drivers got across the line. Not too bad of a race there. Either way, guys, thank you guys for joining on the session. Please make sure you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel there. Follow us on Twitch, follow us on Facebook, and we'll see you guys next week for the next race session there. Thank you guys for joining.